As fleeting as it was, I could still feel Himuro's smell tickling my nose. It didn't even have time to fade before my solitude was broken once more. I heard the heavy door open. Not a single part of me thought that she returned, and the ominous presence leaking into the cell quickly confirmed that I was right. It might have lacked hostility and malice, but it was definitely not friendly either. Then, of course, there was the density of the person's presence impossible to achieve one's lonesome. Like everyone in their band of psychos, he had a step that felt like a march of hundreds, perhaps even thousands, something he didn't even try to conceal. The door was fully open, and my visitor was...
災難でしたね、藤井さん。
Oh. Valeria Trifa. My situation finally got the appropriate person and the appropriate event.
立場上、テレジアの比例はお詫びします。あなたは丁重に扱わなければならない。
Whoa! Was this guy the one who went to Himuro and be like, hey, you should sleep with him? Just... Bonges? Bondage sex him, right? Yeah, that's a good idea. You're friends with him since high school a year and a half ago. Just fuck him. Sure.
これが丁重だって。
I reminded him that I was bound from head to toe and rendered unable to do any worthwhile movements.
少なくとも、あなたを精神的に疲弊させるつもりはない。重いでしょう。そういうものは。
別に。
Regardless of what her goals were, the short moment I spent with Himuro wasn't encumbering at all. Hell, I think her visit actually helped me.
今あの人はどこに？
さて、怒っているようでしたからね。そういう状態の女性には近づかない主義なのですよ。張り手くらい受けてやってもいいのですが、あいにく今はそういうわけにもいかない。不忠になる。
With a small smirk on his face, Father Trifa spoke senseless words as he walked up and freed one of my arms.
あとは自分でおやりなさい。
He gave me the key. I wordlessly took it, started using it, and within a few moments, I regained my freedom. During that time period, Father Trifa did not speak a word, and as if that wasn't enough, when I stood up, he just turned his back on me and started leaving the cell. That behavior made me click my tongue. He took no precautions against the possibility of my escape or counteroffense, and it wasn't because he believed in me or anything. He simply knew that I could be easily taken care of if I tried anything. The bastard knew I was powerless in my current state. There was no point in me proudly standing up and pretending I was fine, while still fighting the creaks of pain all over my body. And again, I guess I had to be at least somewhat passable, though it might have been pointless from a tactical perspective. I really didn't want to look pathetic in front of this man. A show of will was the only weapon I could use in my current situation.
何をしているのですか？ついてきなさい。
どこへ？
I had a hunch, but it couldn't have hurt to ask, right? But sure enough, the response was...
ハイドリ秘境がお待ちです。
The intensity of the event that would soon befall me was so great I couldn't help but regret my nonchalant question.
ところで。
Screw it. In for a penny, in for a pound. As we walked the dark, stony corridor, I asked him something else.
シスターは今どこに？
Oh,
さて、
what? In response, Father Trifa put on a bitter smile.
おそらくテレジアのところ。というか、部屋から締め出されたドアの前で、拉致もないことを語りかけているのでしょう。
Eh?
彼女はそういう人だ。
What?
私は素晴らしいと思いますよ。あの方は女性というものを見事に体現していらっしゃる。情を捨てられず、流されながらも、真の部分ではひどく精度の良い天秤をお持ちだ。ことを選ぶという行為において、女性は男のようにみっともなく揺れたりしない。泣いていようが叫んでいようが正反対のことを言っていようが、するべきことは最初から決めているのですよ。彼女たちはね。リザは信用に足る。 私にとってもあなたにとってもテレジアにとっても、まあそれだけに痛ましくもありますが、この先あなたと対峙するような事態になっても何かうまいことやってくれるでしょうよ、彼女ならね。少なくとも私よりはあなたに好ましい対応をするはずだ。
じゃあ
Me and Sister Lisa facing one another as enemies was not a scenario I wanted to imagine in the first place, but if I had to, it was best left for later. The present, the reality before me, had enough problems for me to deal with.
あんたはどうなんだよ神父さん。
私ですか？言ったでしょう。あなたに害しか及ぼしません。
His tone was so light, you'd think he was inviting me over for tea.
ならあんたに案内されてるこの先は俺にとって最悪の場所ってわけだ。
否定はできませんね。何をもって最悪とするかはともかく、私はあなたと同じ立場にはなりたくない。
シスターのことを話してるときは俺にもまだ先がありそうな言い回しだったけど、
わからないのですよ。わからない。
Sad face. His words rang with earnestness rather than grandeur, at least to my ears.
ハイドリ秘境の意図するところなど、私にはわからない。故に、あなたがどうなるかもわからない。別に脅すつもりはありませんが、楽観しない方が良いでしょう。一度生かされたからといって、二度目があるとは限らない。あの方は何というか、こちらの都合など一切お構いなしなのですよ。彼の中では自然な理屈があるのでしょうが、昔からはっきり言って理解できない。要するに、常識で測れない。
あんたに常識がうんぬん言われたくはないけどね。
He did have a point though. That thing is beyond both sense and reason. Hell, I was breaking the rules just by being alive right now. Normally, I should have died instantly the very moment he appeared. Part of me wanted to ask him why that didn't happen, but I refrained. Father Trifa had already said he didn't understand him, so he probably wouldn't have an answer. Instead, I decided to ask something else. A meaningless question with no ulterior motive or the deep desire for knowledge behind it, excuse me. However, it was also a question that would confirm just how abnormal this priest really was.
年いくつ？
75? He answered.
さて、90の半ばを超えたあたりでしょうか。
Whoa!
おおよそ1世紀生きていると言えばいいですかね。
I was close. Just 20 years off.
我々の中では比較的年長な方ですよ。とは言っても、あなたから見れば90も80も大差ない年寄りでしょうが。
You know, I was sort of expecting them to be like at least 500 years old. You know, just because they consume thousands of souls, you'd think they'd retain more youth. I guess not. I guess I was just hopeful that was right. But, eh.
そう、やっぱり。
What? As in, just as I thought they're really, really old, or just as I thought they're not human? Because that should have come in a conclusion long time ago. I always felt something off about him being Himuro's godfather, and it turned out that the feeling wasn't unfounded. Father Trifa was easily old enough to have lived through World War II, yet he was right here, unchanged since then, and a mortal unfit to be called human.
なら、あれはやっぱりあれでいいんだ。
ハイドリ秘境のことですか？ええ、有名な方ですから、あなたも知っているでしょう。ラインハルト・トリスタン・オイゲン・ハイドリヒ大将閣下。真実の1割も記されていない教科書でさえ、彼が最も恐ろしい魔性だったと言っているでしょう。
Wait, no, wait. That doesn't make sense. Wait, unless Hydric and Cagliostro are like 1,000 years old. Or something like that. Since Mary's like 200 plus years old. In the timeline. Huh.
その評価は間違っていない。万分の1以下の過小評価ではありますがね。それでも彼は図抜けていた。唯一例外は副首領閣下くらいでしょうか。
そいつの名前は？
おや、知らないのですか？まあ確かにこの国の学生が知っているほど著名ではないですが、それについてはハイドリヒ教ご本人からお聞きなさい。
Zarathustra? I don't even know if I'm saying that right. We reached the end of the long corridor where a colossal door towered over us. Beyond it, the monster was waiting for me. It was inside the church this entire time?
ちなみにここは私がくぐる門でもあります。原則として一門につき一人しか通れませんから、今は私が開けるわけにもいかない。
What? I gotta open this shit as a human being?
ですからどうぞ。
What?
お一人で。これは真実本音ですが。
Oh.
あなた。
Okay. Time to open some giant fucking doors. His ominous words made me want to say nothing. Or something. But my body didn't allow that. My pulse was hastening. I was drenched in cold sweat and my breathing was ragged. Once I went past these gates, there would be no escape.
わかったよ。
However, I didn't want to show any weakness before this priest. That tiny sliver of pride was the only thing preventing my legs from giving out, allowing me to muster enough courage to push open the door. All of this is underneath the fucking church. What? The hinges creaked. Oh my god, I'm gonna try again. The hinges creaked as the vertical space in the middle of the gate opened up. Compared to how heavy and grand it looked, I was able to spread it with relative ease and pass into the room beyond.
座ってしばしお待ちなさい。だが副首領閣下の席だけはやめた方がいい。そこはハイドリヒ教と近すぎる。ゼクス、ズイーベン、そのあたりが良いでしょう。対面ですし、あながちあなたと無関係でもない席だ。
Okay. His words echoed behind me as the gate creaked into a close, leaving me all alone. I considered my options. Not only was I completely cornered, but the place was infested with demons and devils. I knew that my situation was similar to that of a fish on a chopping board, but I couldn't give up on life just yet.
しかし、円卓か。
First things first, I examined the room I was locked in to get a better grasp of my situation. That was the most notable object. A jet black table as round as it was dark. The way it made the light seep away from it, despite its hue, was reminiscent of pitchstone or ebony, and its placement in the very center of the space served to emphasize its grandeur. The obsidian round table couldn't be any more fitting. While the center of the room was flat to give space to the table and 13 seats, it went upwards as it went outwards, making it comparable to the Colosseum or a theater. It was easy to tell that this was their headquarters, the place where Wilhelm, Rusalka, Father Trifa, and Sakurai would bring up and discuss topics that could be no less than disgusting. To be honest, I really wanted to fucking break it. I was told to sit and wait, but the idea of taking any of these seats rubbed me the wrong way. Not only was it unpleasant, but it would hinder the swiftness of my response if something happened. This was a monster's cage, and I was locked in it, so I couldn't allow myself to do something so reckless. That aside though, I could actually feel the disposition of the seat's owners just by looking at them, so I decided to do a small examination. The gate I walked through belonged to Father Trifa, so it was safe to assume that the seat before me was his as well. On the back it had a symbol that resembled a tree with branches, but that was about the only noteworthy thing about it. The seat next to it, however, felt absolutely terrible. Specifically the one to the left of the priest's seat. The symbol on it was a triangle shape pointing to the right and reeking of rotten stench. Almost like it had been doused in tens of buckets of putrid blood. It didn't take much to realize that the seat belonged to Wilhelm. Its stony composition aside, I couldn't help but feel like it was made of bones and flesh so decayed, I had to hold back an urge to vomit as I shifted my gaze to the other one. This one probably belonged to Sakurai. The symbol was nothing but an arrow pointing upwards, and compared to the other two, it had an aura of youth surrounding it. As youthful as it was, though, there was no hint of bloom. It was too stiff, too strict, too severely lacking in placidity. Placidity. I said it right the first thing. God damn it. It possessed a tension that easily reminded me of her, and the typical severity of her expression. So there were seats 3, 4, and 5. Huh. I did recall the numbers they spoke when they introduced themselves, and the impressions I got here were a perfect match to their owners. Then I reached seats 6 and 7, the ones Father Trifa recommended, the ones that were supposedly not entirely unrelated to me. But then, the priest was right about seat number 6. I couldn't feel anything unpleasant about it, so if I did take the seat, this would probably be the one. But then I remembered the one before it belonged to Reinhard. I had the impression that round tables were meant to prevent displays of superiority, and yet while my eyes failed to see a difference, I could easily feel it. That seat belonged to the master of this room. The sign etched on its surface had to be either the letter N or H, yet I couldn't help but sense something awfully ominous about it. I imagined that if a foreigner saw the kanji for murder or destruction, they wouldn't assume that they represented peace or love either, and that was exactly how I felt about this. Curse? Hate? No, that didn't fit. It was more like the symbol for nuclear weaponry. It was probably... no, definitely. Sure. As if raining down on all stones in this space, a voice echoed around the obsidian round table. Oh! So it is called Dies Irae. Yay! Accompanying the voice, a soul with an overwhelming mass manifested itself before me once again. Golden eyes that matched its mane, and a face refined beyond all descent. Though evil beyond doubt, he filled the room with grace and majesty befitting royal nobility. Lord Commander of the Obsidian Round Table, Reinhard Heydrich. I didn't know if he just didn't intend to intimidate me now, but the pressure that forced all and everything to prostrate themselves before him was weaker than last time. Even so, I had still had trouble looking at him straight on. As ironic as it might be, though, all the life and death situations I went through dulled my senses and my body so much that it minimized my fear of him. If I had eyes with clarity so great that I could see into the number and density of the souls swirling within him, I would likely die due to the insanity. Reinhard urged me once more while eyeing seat number 6, which was right before me. As pathetic as it may have been, his words had something to them that made it difficult for me to resist. Well, I guess if he intended to do something with me, then it would happen and I couldn't do anything about it, regardless if I was seated or standing. However, as a small show of defiance, I decided to take seat number 7 instead. Just to fuck with him.
なるほど。なかなか面白い選択だ。象徴的とでも言うかな。け、そこが誰の席か知っているのかね。別に。
Me sitting here was an abrupt situation. and decision fueled by nothing but pride. But the feeling of it wasn't bad at all, to be honest. Not exactly a pleasant idea, but I sensed that I could get along with whoever owned the seat. However, none of that mattered now. I had no grasp of his intentions, but my situation wasn't light enough for me to have a pleasant conversation with him. Regardless if we were having an exchange or not, this was a battle all to me. First and foremost, I had to protect my own life, but my win conditions meant taking back what he took from me. Mary, basically. Even if I was able to leave here with all my limbs intact, it would be completely pointless if I didn't have her by my side. A clear loss. Reinhard Heydrich. As a man who reached the rank of Lieutenant General while still in the youth of his 30s, he probably went through government conspiracies, secrecies, and trickeries on a daily basis. Even if our battle stayed only verbal, it was still a formidable foe. When considered naturally, I was facing him as nothing but a student who had yet to live 2 full decades. My burden here was so great that I might as well have been facing a creature from a higher dimension. And that is exactly why I had to avoid being consumed by such feelings.
一つ聞きたい。
I spoke loud and clear to try and take the lead of the conversation. This wasn't a case where I could go on the defensive.
なんで俺は生きている？
Reinhardt sounded a light chuckle and
生物を砕かれればその使い手も砕かれる。それに対する矛盾かね。ならば何も問題はない。単なる K の勘違いだ。
勘違い？
そう。その断りをどこで知った？目で見たのか、あるいは聞いたか。前者であれば結論を急ぎすぎ、後者であれば言葉が足りんな。結果だけを見て、過程に目を向けていない。
Oh, that's right, we broke Spinner's Honorb. But he was still alive afterwards.
なぜ K は器物の破壊が肉体の破壊に直結すると判断した？そうなったからそうなるのだろう。ではあまりにも単慮だろう。聖なる異物に宿る魂、それに溶け合い融合した己の魂、この二つを砕かれるからこそ霊質の破壊が物質の破壊につながるのだ。蓋をこじ開け中身を抜き取った程度では私も K も誰も死なぬよ。
つまり
It was saying that my and Mary's souls weren't damaged, but only split apart. It wasn't the weapon's destruction that led to the destruction of the flesh, but rather the damage inflicted upon the souls within it. The realization that Mary was perfectly fine made me exhale a sigh of relief. However, I had trouble accepting that the truth was that simple. He spoke of the act as if it was easy to do, but I couldn't help but think otherwise. It seemed like he crushed a packet of peanuts without damaging the contents.
理解したかね。
Though I still had some questions about the issue, I nodded wordlessly while averting my gaze from his. The main deal was that he had abilities that were nothing short of divine, and that he used them to keep me alive. Why did he do that anyway?
なんでそんな面倒なことをする？
Could have killed me right then and there. Hell, he could kill me right now. Even if there were 100 of me and we all banded up against him, we wouldn't stand a snowball's chance in hell.
俺を一体どうするつもりだ？
どうする？
Was my question really that strange? Reinhard actually processed it with a pensive look on his face.
私はただ K と話をしたかったのだよ。
な、
Was he fucking around with me? I almost shouted that out loud, but the pressure of his being had filled the room and gained so much density that my tongue failed to move. I could feel that he was about to speak something laden with danger. Words that would curse me if they entered into my ears. Words that I shouldn't even hear, let alone listen to.
ザラトゥストラ。例えば K は今と同じ状況を以前にもあったと感じたことはあるまいか。未曾有の恐怖、絶対の危機、最悪の絶望。死を前にしたその瞬間ですら、ふとそんな冷めた考えに浸ったことは。
I felt some recent memories of mine stir within my head. Reinhard spoke words that were... This deja vu just won't ever stop. The same as his. The only difference was in the way they presented it, but that could be chalked up to their personalities. However, there was absolutely no doubt that we were talking about the same thing.
逆であってもいい。舌をとろかす美酒、心震わす学問、形成の美女。人生を彩る快楽が単なる焼き増しの追体験だと感じたことは
That made me remember Himuro's visage. I could still feel her warmth and it allowed me to muster foolhardiness of a suicidal madman. The confrontation with this golden man almost made me believe that my lifespan was being chipped away, and yet I looked at him head on.
それが一体どうしたというんだ。
その悲壮感。まさに死という道に向かう挑戦者の姿勢だ。ならばこそ私の話を聞くがいい。
Was he just messing around? I glared at him as if to ask that, and he only shrugged to indicate that I was misunderstanding him.
そうではない。基地というものの恐ろしさを解くにあたって死こそが最良の教材であるからだ。故に私は死を心に落とした刑に説く。真に恐ろしいものは死ではない。その畏怖もその尊厳も何もかもが剥奪され、死が死でなくなる基地の方だということ。
A thing more frightening than death itself.
例えば私はこの瞬間、Kと対峙するこの空間、空気に覚えがある。かつて私は K に同様のことを説いた。それを覚えているのだ。
The hell was he saying? I don't remember anything like that. However, he didn't sound like he was speaking of a hypothetical scenario.
思い出さないのかね。
Nope.
人違いだろ。
A forced retort.
K の記憶に誤りはない。ここでこうして私とケイトで話すのは確かに初めてだろう。
The Golden Phantom relaxed his lips and spoke something peculiar.
つまり私が覚えているのは過去ではないのだよ。
過去じゃない。
私は今を覚えているのだ。
I am so lost. My head failed to work. My body failed to move. And as I felt something really unpleasant within the conversation, an urge to vomit built up within me. The dread enveloping me felt so vast that I thought my heart would jump out of my chest. In the end, I fought through it to process what he was saying.
かつて私は私の人生を生きた。その中でケイとも出会い、そしてこのように話をした。
That was completely his own problem. He could spend days talking about it, and I still wouldn't remember shit. Was he talking about a previous life?
無論それは過去ではない。この日この時この空間での話だ。
Uh-huh.
私はそれを覚えているのだよ。
予知能力でも持っているのか。
本当に覚えていないらしいな。K はあの時の K とは別人なのか。
I couldn't be any less equipped to answer that question. None of what he said rang a bell, so he might as well have been talking to a wall.
未来を予知することができればどれほど楽だろうな。残念ながら私にそんな力はないよ。
His lip shaped a self-deriding smile.
今この瞬間の経験、体験を私は覚えている。いいかね。類似した体験を思い出しているわけではない。かつての生において同じこと。
Skip.
かつての。
かつて私が今と同様にラインハルト・ハイドリヒであった。
Okay. I didn't get him at all. That's a big understatement. I have no idea what he's saying. What is he trying to say? The fuck? To me, the only present was now, this very moment.
K にとって今とは今この瞬間だけの
Yes.
幸せなことだ。妬ましいほど
何が言いたい？
What is he getting at?
確認をしておきたかった。K が何者であるのかを。私もまたカールから何も知らされていないのだよ。
カール？
Carl? Who's that?
カール・クラフト。私と知り合った時はそう名乗っていた男だよ。卓越した異常者だ。いわく戦隊員で名を持っているらしいがな。うちのいくつかは経営しているのではないのかね。例えばファウスト、サンジェルマン、パラケルス、カリオストロ、
Cagliostro?
そしてメルクリウス。このまま一番通りが良いか。
This was giving me a headache. How long had the guy been alive? Just by considering his relation to Mary, his minimum possible age was at least 200. But now I was supposed to process that existed even prior to that. And then I was supposed to believe that, come to wartime, he changed his name to Karl Kraft and mingled with the Obsidian Round Table. Not only that, he was the one who met with the once human Reinhard and fathered Trifa, transforming them into inhuman beings they now were. Downright ridiculous. Even with the greatest proof sitting right before me, I couldn't just accept it so easily. What? You know, I don't get Ren. If bullshit out of the ordinary, extraordinary shit happened for at least a couple weeks, you can't just say like, oh, I don't believe it, even though proof is right in front of me. You can't say that anymore, Ren. You just gotta believe.
信じているのか？
どちらでもない。どちらでもよい。そんなことは重要でない。ただ、彼には力があり、面白い男で、私と目的が合致している。
目的？
言っただろう。基地感だ。
As he spoke, Reinhardt's voice was filled with malice for an enemy, for a fate that must be averted, and yet I could feel a hint of awe for something of sacred divinity.
私はカールと遊戯を結んで、それに触れた。おかげで以降、世が常にくすんで見えるよ。私は一度も達成感や解放感、満足と言えるものを胸に抱いたことがない。当時はそれにすら気づいておらず、
Yep.
しかし、ないということに気がついた。私にできることも、なれぬ地位も、倒せぬ敵も、落とせぬ女も、得られぬ財もなかった。
So he lost feelings.
カールは言ったよ。あなたは本気を出していない。
What?
陳腐だろう。まるで万能感に酔う少年の日の妄想だ。しかし、つまり私は、どうも生まれる世界を間違えたらしい。難易度が低すぎる。取るに足らぬ。だが、生まれた以上は生きていくしか他になく、故に、基地感だ。私は何をしてもつまらぬという気持ちを。
He's just bored with the world. He's just like, what's his name? I forgot his name. Holy crap. Shiro. I probably didn't get half of what Reinhard was saying, but I understood that his goal could be boiled down to nothing more than
満足したい。
Yup. Shiro.
他に何があるのかね。
He answered with no hesitation of pretension, only childish straightforwardness.
具体的には2つ。私が全力を行使しても容易ならざる事態の発言。かつ、それを乗り越えた先が未知であること。どちらが先になるかは分からん。ここは私の世界ではない。故に私があるべき世界を想像して流れ出させる。 踏破するに足る山を出現させて
Hero.
それが
Hero. It was not of this world, so he would destroy it all and create one fit for him. Agal. Destruction, the day the olden order ends. The Dies Irae. Spine's words came back to me. They must not be brought back to this world. They were monsters, beasts beyond coexistence. Construction of a magic circle, the right of return, competing murderers, and the souls that they sacrifice. I see. So he was...
まだ完全じゃないのか。
It was already beyond all imagination, and yet that was a display of only few tenths, if not hundredths, of his total power. Honestly, he might as well have been a creature from a higher dimension. If there was a world befitting this beast, I really didn't want to see it. It surely would be no different than witnessing the devil on his own hellish throne.
軽眼だ。確かに今の私は影に過ぎない。
What?
本体とでも言っておこうか。ともかく私の大半は私が作った私の世界に。
Oh my god, how long is this fucking visual novel?
どうやってそんなことを。
K がカールの秘宝を理解すればわかるようになるだろうよ。何も特別なことをやっているわけではない。まあ、いささか大掛かりな真似はしたがね。旅立つのも戻るのも相応に大道具を必要とする。かつてはベルリン。そして今は
The gold squinted his eyes and implicitly halted his words for several seconds, imploring me to imagine and word it myself. An action reminiscent of a devil with sick taste for human reactions.
この街か。
With a creaking voice, I squeezed out those words.
しかり。
じゃあ、
What was that what he was getting at? What he wanted me to take away from this?
この街と俺たちが道具だと。
Such hubris, such inhumanity, so fiendish a thought that no human could think and act by it.
その憤りは的外れだな。そうも我々がいなければこの町など生まれておらん。
何？
ハウスホーファーという男がいてな。地政学の権威であり、魔術師崩れであり、私とカールのまあありていに言えば玩具だ。彼はこの国に駐在していたこともある。さて、何をしていたのかな？
Asopher. Karl Aushofer. 1869, 1946. Was a German general, geographer, and politician, though his student Rudolf Haushofer's ideas influenced the development of, oh my god, okay, the Nazis. Gotcha. Okay. A dreadful thought passed through my mind. Me, Kasumi, Shiro, and Honjo, all of the current Suwahara inhabitants were born into a land noticed by these lunatics, into a city planned and built to be their little game board.
シャンバラ思想、東方の楽園。彼が傾倒していた理想的国家の何たるかを探るロマンだよ。なかなか面白い男ではあったがね。ハウスホーファーがシャンバラ・タリウールと記録していたいくつかの地。中でも上位の霊格を有するこの地が哀れにもカールの目に留まる。あとは言うまでもなかろう。
Shambhala in Hindu and Tibetan Buddhist traditions, Shambhala is a mythical kingdom. It is mentioned in various ancient texts, including the Kalakakra Tantra and the ancient Zhangyung texts of Western Tibet. Oh, I like Valhalla, or that mythology. I was gonna say Norse. Where is Valhalla from? Jeez. Yeah, Norse mythology. I was gonna say Greek mythology or Roman. I second guess myself. I guess that's Asgard? Or no, that's Norse. Never mind. Totally wrong. Haushofer and Karl, also known as Mercurius. They were two men on completely different levels. The magician was an eccentric hobby born out of madness, caused by excessive amounts of learning. The former man was exactly that, but the latter was without a doubt the real thing. The real, in fact, that he could turn a whole city into a stage setting. The road to transcension. This guy just went out and said it out loud.
餌だと。
道具という表現が気に食わぬならと言い換えたのだ。これもお気に召さんかね。スワスチカを開くのは戦場だ。あまたの血と魂の懺悔。故に、どうしようもなく敵手という存在がいる。武器すら持たぬただの民を殺戮しても、それは形状であって戦場とは言わん。無論、開かぬこともないが、私、わかるだろう。だからこそ、K なのだ。このシャンバラに、私を具現させるため、8つの戦場を制覇しろ。拒絶。
He was completely right. I was utterly and thoroughly cornered. Whether I fled or fought, Reinhard's return was inevitable. The only good method of dealing with this was to kill several of them at one swastika. I knew full well just how difficult that was. Karl Kraft, an abnormally unpleasant character who was cunning beyond measure. I could understand why he was hated by Wilhelm and the others, but I had a hunch that the very malice directed at him was part of his absurd plot. My situation was like that of a wanted criminal. Sakurai described it as a game of hide and seek, and that wasn't far off the mark at all. I was a substitute for Kraft, the vice commander they so vehemently abhorred, and I knew the extent of their hatred firsthand, having been hunted by a few of them in the past. But if that was the case, then...
どうするね。理解に至ったなら決断の時だ。ここで私と。
What? Why did the music change? For a moment, my heart throbbed so loudly it reverberated within my ears. Here's the place. Now is the time, the only time. No! He had been pressuring me since this started. I couldn't even look him straight in the eye. Thoughts and hubris beyond measure. A presence so overwhelming that I could physically feel it. Reinhard Heydrich was so far out of bounds that simply keeping myself together felt like a struggle in itself. However, I felt that this was also a golden opportunity. The moment when I had to throw away all thoughts about the probability of success and make a headlong dive into a battle against them. And so I stood up. Straightforward words that contained only what was necessary, spoken while glaring at the golden monster and holding back the uneasiness and chills that felt like they could evaporate my body. Oh yeah, that's smart. A provocation so dangerous it made the tightrope walk seem like cakewalk. If he so desired a beast before me could destroy a human without as much as lifting a finger. Based on what Reinhard said thus far, I concluded that he wanted me to take up the role of their opponent. As ridiculous as that sounded, he wished for a fierce enough adversary to satisfy him, which meant that I, in my current state, was hardly even worthy to be killed. However, displaying fear or civility might disappoint him enough to end me. I had to be a powerful foe, a mighty, ferocious hero that would make the beast wish to go all out. Stop tangling up my damn tongue, stop shaking my fucking limbs, shut up and slow down my heart. To what was undoubtedly the greatest bluff in all my life, he responded with... Reinhard hung his head, chuckled, then threw it back, laughing out loud.
見事まったくいや上出来ではないか教育が行き届きすぎだぞカールしかしこれは家庭として先代とはいえ腹立たしいな彼の命がけも基地だ
With that, the hand covering his handsome face started to shine and drowned the surrounding darkness in a golden light.
持っていけ
Something came flying towards me, crashed into my chest, and shot me upwards. The gold burning my eyes started to shrink and fade away as I began to feel him disappear.
もとより盟友の女に手を出すほどゲスではないだが魔男を意識すればむつみ合いの手札もそして情熱も磨き高める気になったであろうではしばしの別れをザラトゥストラよもや逃げまい今の私では不足といった計ならば楽しみだ実に楽しみだ私に道を見せてくれ決戦はその時に我がレギオンをもってお相手すると約束しよう
With a laughter that roared throughout the space, the gold shrunk with inverse proportion until it reached the boundary between 1 and 0 and disappeared, leaving me with an explosion that blew me away once more.